Saturday, October 8th. We could be days away from nuclear war. Zelensky just did this mad act of blowing up the bridge linking Crimea. This is Russian territory, Crimea and Russia, that Putin had long announced that anybody touching this bridge would be, the consequences would be severe, and he's going to make a statement of war against Ukraine. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about current politics. I just wanted to note what the big news that had happened today. There isn't a day that goes by that these lunatics, I'm talking about the liberals, I'm talking about Biden and the administration and WEF and the New World Order and Zelensky are going to drive this world out of existence. That's really what's happening. So let me go back to the roots of this in Chicago with Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. I'm reading from The Devil and Karl Marx by Paul Kengor. There are any number of books now that are available, and certainly plenty of sites you can go to and Google Karl Marx and Satan. Karl Marx was a Satanist. He's a practicing Satanist. It's in his writings. So was Engels. You go right forward to Lenin. You go forward to the 100 million plus people murdered, massacred in the Soviet Union with Stalin. And all these left, that still doesn't dissuade the communists after 100 million plus people are killed in Russia to still be Stalinists. I'm talking about Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera and Andre Breton and Pablo Picasso. The left cannot get enough of mass murder. That's in their founding charter with the socialists like Proudhon and Bakunin, anarchists, all the Noam Chomskys and Howard Zinns. These people, mass murder is part and parcel, and that's what's going on now, and that's what's coming. Think about it. Read some history. Lucifer and Saul Alinsky, this is the Chicago school. This is another epicenter of hell and Satanism in this country, along with San Francisco, Las Vegas, Hollywood, California, New York City, and the UN and the Federal Reserve and the banking class in Washington, D.C. and Boston. These are the results of wanting to dominate the world. What does America want to do? It wants to rule the world, just like Rome. We aren't the good guys. Rome wasn't the good guys. Corinth wasn't the good guys. When is it going to register with anybody that empires aren't good guys, and particularly the people that say they're against the empire and they run it? Lucifer and Saul Alinsky. I'm thinking if I can just get, do a fire and brimstone that somebody will listen. Now I'll go back to my, the Jekyll and Hyde story, the good cop, bad cop. Now I'm the calm university professor like Saul Alinsky and Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. Speaking of disturbing confluences, the inspirations behind famed radical Saul Alinsky are likewise troubling and hard to pin down. Not hard to find, however, is his acknowledgement to Lucifer, which comes at the start of his most famous book, Rules for Radicals. Kicking off his opus to radicalism and community organizing, Alinsky offered this curious opening acknowledgement, lest we forget at least an over-the-shoulder acknowledgement to the very first radical from all our legends, mythology, and history, the first radical known to man who rebelled against the establishment and did it so effectively that he at least won his own kingdom, Lucifer. Yes, Saul Alinsky, icon of the political left, whose admirers, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, commenced his magnum opus, the one for which he is hailed by progressives, a book not only read by Clinton, but used as a text by Obama in Chicago as a teacher of community organizing, with an acknowledgement of the devil. He directed his reader's gaze to Satan as a glorious rebel. His evocation is very similar to Bakunin's, that's the Russian anarchist, in his 1871 magnum opus, God and the State, which lauded Lucifer as the eternal rebel, the first free thinker, and the emancipator of worlds, and also the destroyer of worlds. If you look at the Hindu representative at the Hadron Collider, the Large Hadron Collider in Switzerland, the destroyer of worlds. And Barack Obama is on the Economist magazine with his 6 arms balancing the world. It's all this symbolism is showing in plain sight who these people are, what these forces are, where this world is headed, and there's only one way out, and it's through Jesus Christ, because this world is ending. This world is ending in flame and fire and destruction, just as it says in the book of Revelation, just as all the prophets describe its ending, just as the prophet Jesus Christ, just as the book of Revelation in the Gospels and in the book of Revelation. These aren't the visions of a madman. This is all happening. If you take any time to study history and to read the book of Revelation and to understand what is being described and where we are at now with this latest insanity, which for years now, I've said this is going to happen, and it's happening. And even as it happens, I think the first nuclear bomb is going to have to go off, and I think even then nobody's going to have listened to a word I say. To avoid overstatement and hyperbole, we should clarify that it would not be quite accurate to say that Rules for Radicals is dedicated to Lucifer, as is often claimed by Alinsky's detractors. It is also hard to criticize them for making that assumption. Looking at the book carefully, it appears to be dedicated to one person. There is a page at the start of the book that says simply, "To Irene." On the page prior to the Irene dedication is a list of personal acknowledgments, where Alinsky lists 4 friends, Jason Epstein, Cicely Nichols, Susan Rabiner, and Georgia Harper. I'm quite familiar with Jason Epstein since I worked at the publication that he founded for 10 years, the New York Review of Books. Following the Irene page is another page, a controversial one, in which Alinsky offers 3 quotes, the first from Rabbi Hillel, the second from Thomas Paine, and the third from Alinsky himself, giving his nod to Lucifer. One well-known fact-checking source on the web, Snopes.com, describes this as 3 epigraphs on an introductory page. That is a fair and acceptable way to characterize it. And the third of the 3 is an epigraph, if you will, to Satan. But we should not let Alinsky off the Luciferian hook. Alinsky elsewhere had more favorable things to say about that first rebel and radical, and particularly Satan's dominion in the netherworld. The point also to make here is that these people were not atheists. Marx was not an atheist. Alinsky is not an atheist. They believe in Satan. They worship Satan. The Freemason, the Jesuits, the Antichrist, the beast system, the ruler of this world, the father of lies, and a murderer is worshipped by and people who receive their power from Satan. Satan is real. And worshiping him is consequently the loss of one's soul while gaining the world. And what profiteth man to lose his soul and gain the whole world? And they're mad with destruction. These Pelosi's and these Schumers, who's a Freemason, incidentally, Chuck Schumer. You can look it up on Wikipedia, list of Freemasons. And the Jesuits or the Catholics, that would be the Pelosi's and the Bidens. and the Warhols, and you name it. Now, by Warhol, I mean all the members of the Paul Morrissey, the Ondines, the members of his retinue, the inner circle of Jesuits. Alinsky elsewhere had far more favorable things to say about the first rebel and radical. He was asked about the acknowledgement in his March 1972 interview with Playboy, of course, magazine, another portal to hell. Near the end of his life, a swan song that every Alinsky aficionado knows about. The exchange came at the very end of the interview, with Playboy apparently judging it a fittingly provocative close to the extremely lengthy discussion. Playboy, having accepted your own mortality, do you believe in any kind of afterlife? Alinsky, sometimes it seems to me that the question people should ask is not, is there life after death, but is there life after birth? I don't know whether there's anything after this or not. I haven't seen the evidence one way or the other, and I don't think anybody else has either. Not even Jesus. But I do know that man's obsession with the question comes out of his stubborn refusal to face up to his own mortality. Let's say that if there's an afterlife and I have anything to say about it, I will unreservedly choose to go to hell. Playboy, why? Alinsky, hell would be heaven for me. All my life I've been with the have-nots. Over here, if you're a have-not, you're short of dough. If you're a have-not in hell, you're short of virtue. Once I get into hell, I'll start organizing the have-nots over there. As if Alinsky was one of the have-nots, just like Obama and Clinton are one of the have-nots. University professors, they're so impoverished. Playboy, why them? Alinsky, they're my kind of people. They're my kind of people, said Alinsky. Hell would be heaven for me. Alinsky averred that he would unreservedly choose to go to hell. That is frightening. Theologians often comfort repentant sinners fearing the flames of hell by assuring them that one must deliberately choose hell to end up there. Well, Saul Alinsky determined that such was his choice, unreservedly so. Like Karl Marx's character in The Pale Maiden, Alinsky was willing to forfeit heaven by choosing hell. When I first Googled the Alinsky Playboy interview several years ago, I found the aforementioned excerpt posted at, among other places, a Satanist website. There, the author, in an article titled Saul D. Alinsky, a role model for left-wing Satanists, writes of the exchange. I'm not sure whether Alinsky really was a Satanist Luciferian of some sort or whether he was just joking. He may well have been just joking. An Alinsky supporter, a liberal friend of mine, shrugged this off as a joke, as Alinsky allegedly being facetious. I asked my friend how she knew that. She admitted that she did not for certain, and if those statements and nods to Lucifer and hell were something of a joke, they are not very funny. You know who else jokes about it all the time is Jimmy Page. Watch Jimmy Page, Google Jimmy Page in front of the Oxford Student Union where they're all jovial. He's making jokes about how Jimmy Page was a practicing Satanist, the Thelema religion of Aleister Crowley. He opened all of the metaphysical bookstores just so he could sell the works and to get the works of Aleister Crowley distributed all over London first and then all over the world. If there's anybody disseminating the religion of Satan, it's somebody like a Jimmy Page, and yet he laughs and, I don't really believe in Satan. If they don't believe in Satan, then why are they practicing satanic rituals? And why are they disciples of Aleister Crowley? And why are filmmakers like Kenneth Anger, who is another one of them, disciple and high up member in the church of the order of whatever it is, the OTO? I don't memorize the different orders because there are so many of them proliferating all from the same source. What's the source? Satan. There's a source, the devil. What's the source? Black magic. Jimmy Page is a practicer of Jack Black magic. Jack Black magic, yeah. Jack Black sex magic. That's what comes out of Hollywood, where you have all of these sex slaves. Is it a joke? Ask the sex slaves if it's a joke. Ask the Beyoncés, ask the Jay-Z's, ask the Led Zeppelin retinue that are raping or desecrating young girls in one way or another, like the Bill Clintons out at Sex Slave Islands, the Bill Gateses, and it's a joke. It's not a joke. I'm just going to end there because I'm tired, and there's my phone.